Okay, so it already started recording. So for number 1, guys, notice how it's giving you guys the picture. It's telling you that a person is laying on point A, and they're telling you that they are 10.4 meters away from the base of the tree. We want to know if they're giving us an angle of, if they're giving you guys the angle of elevation. Remember that the angle of elevation is always from the ground up. So my angle of elevation is going to be right here, so go ahead and mark it on your paper. If the angle of elevation is 25 degrees, I want to know how tall is the tree. So I'm going to use the letter X instead of the number right there. Okay? Once you label your angle of elevation and the height of the tree with an X, then we're going to be this is for Martha. Okay. So anyways, so we have, did I put play? I didn't even pause it. So the angle of elevation is 25. We know our location of our angle, so I'm going to label the sides of the triangle that I know. I know that this one right here is X, so I'm going to label it with opposite. I'm going to label the 10.4 with adjacent. Good. Now from the 3 trig ratios that we can use, which one has opposite and adjacent? Tangent. Good, tangent. So I'm going to put tangent. If they give you the measure of the angle, you're going to write it next to tangent. So I'm going to put tangent of 25 equals, then the opposite goes on top, so that means X. Then on the bottom we have 10.4. Questions so far? No? Okay. Then remember the little trick that I showed you. If the X is on the top, that means we're going to multiply. So on your calculator, you guys are going to put 10.4, then tangent of 25. Press enter. What is the height of the tree? 4 point what, Mijo? 4.84. Are we good? For problem number 2. For problem number 2 is the one that I told you guys to change to 80. They're telling you that the boat is 60 feet above the sea floor. So that means, is that going to be the vertical or the horizontal line? The vertical. So straight up and down is vertical, horizontal is laying down flat. So we're going to put our 60 degrees right here. Okay, the next thing that they want is we want to know the angle of depression. Now this one is very, very important because you can't answer it incorrectly if you guys label it wrong. When you're looking at the angle of depression, please always keep in mind that we need to have the eye level first, and we're going to go from up, from the top down. Okay, so that's the angle of depression. Now notice how that angle is outside of your triangle. It's always going to be the same as the one that is here in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to be using this angle to solve for it. So we're going to label the 2 parts that we have. We have the 60, which would be the opposite. And you guys have the 80, which should be what? Hypotenuse. So you're going to be using which one? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine? So I'm going to have sine. I don't know the degree of the angle, so I'm going to use theta. And then I am going to have what number goes on top? The opposite. So that's 60, and on the bottom 80. Now you're looking for the measurement of the angle. So every time you're looking for the measurement of the angle on your calculator, you guys should have the inverse. So I should have sine -1 parentheses 60 over 80, close parentheses, press enter.
48.59.
So your answer should be 48.6 because it's 59, right? Questions on this? No? Can I erase it now? Okay, for number 3. Number 3 is a little bit tricky, and a lot of people have been getting it wrong because you guys want to use the left altitude, altitude right. Okay, we do not use that unless your triangle looks something like this. You need to have 2 right angles in order for you guys to be able to use that formula. This one does not. It only has 1 right triangle right here, so I cannot use this formula. When I gave you your rules for special right triangles, I told you guys that the 30, 60, 90 comes from cutting a triangle with every single side in half with the altitude. So if every side is the same, that means every angle is going to measure the same. So that's 60, 60, 60. Because you're cutting the top in half, you're going to put 30. When you guys cut the angle in half, you're also cutting the base in half. So if the whole line is 8 and you cut it in half, one side is going to be 4. Good. This side right here is the short side. So to go from short side to the long leg, what does the rule say to do? Not times 2, that's to the hypotenuse. Times square root, but not 2. 3. Okay? So when I'm multiplying a number in a square root, we just put 4 square root of 3 next to it. If your test, guys, gives you your multiple choice in decimals, make sure that you just put 4 square root of 3 in the calculator, press enter, and then it's going to give you guys your decimal. Yes? Yes. Because it can give you guys the answers as this, or it can give you guys the answer as a decimal. So now let's look at number 4. We have the same type of problem. You guys have a 30-degree angle right here. So I have a 30-degree angle right here. That means this is a 60-degree angle right here. So I'm going to be doing the same rules. They're giving you the long leg here, and they want to know how tall is the tree. So to go from long to short, what does the rule say? Divide by square root of 3, and how do we do that if it's a whole number?
You divide the number by 3, no, add the square root of 3.
Good. So we divide the number by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then we just put the square root of 3 next to it. So don't forget that step. No questions? Okay. Let me erase that, and then we're going to move on. Marco, ya? Move on. Okay, guys, number 5 is multiple steps. So, They're telling me to give the ratios. They're telling me to give the ratios for sine, cosine, and tangent. So the first thing I need to do is have all three sides. I'm missing this side right here. So to find, on tomorrow's test, to find your side, you guys are going to have to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, that's to find the missing side first, and then you guys can give me the ratios for sine, cosine, and tangent. So remember that the A and the B are the ones that are going to touch the 90-degree angle. The C is always the hypotenuse. So I'm going to replace them with the numbers that we have. The A is 20, so I'm going to have 20 squared. I don't know what the B is, so I'm going to keep it as a B. And then the C is 29. So put them on the calculator because I don't have one, guys. So 20 squared should be 400. B stays the same, B squared. And what about 29?
841.
841, okay. Now, what you guys need to do is we're going to solve for x regular. So I'm going to get rid of the 400. So we do minus, good, minus 400. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Bring the b squared down. And then what's 841 minus 400?
441.
Okay, so 441. Let me see your paper. 441. To get rid of the squared, I'm going to take the square root. So what should the measurement of be?
21.
21. So that means the length of B is 21. You didn't copy anything. So the length of B is 21. So now I am going to label the sides that they're telling me. They're telling me look at angle D. Using angle D, I'm going to label the sides as opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. Which one's the opposite on your triangle? 20, good. Which one's the hypotenuse?
C.
Okay. And which one's the adjacent? 21. So when they're asking you to find the ratios of sine, cosine, and tangent,
Are you just going to put the fraction?
sine should be what? Opposite over hypotenuse. So what numbers are you going to use?
20 over 29.
So 20 over 29. What about cosine? Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's what? 21 over 29. And what about tangent? 20 over 21. Good. That's it. Okay, you didn't copy the other ones down. No, you didn't. There's nothing on your paper. Number 6. Number 6, look at the triangle. We're going to be using 30, 60, 90. So every time you see a 30 or a 60, we're going to be using 30, 60, 90 rules. So the 60 is right here. So that means this is the long side. This has to be the short. And this one's the hypotenuse. They're giving you the short side already. So to go from short to hypotenuse, what do you guys do?
Multiply the square root of 2.
Not by square root of 2, mijo.
2 divided by
Just by 2. So 7 times 2.
14.
So y equals 14. And then to go from short to long, you multiply times the square root of 3. So your answer should be
7 square root of 3.
7 square root of 3. Questions on it, though? No? Let me know if I'm going too fast because I'm only going to do 1 through 11 and then you guys are going to do the rest on your own. So now that we know the rules, now I have problem number 7. Label it for me. What should 12 be? Short, long, or hypotenuse?
Short.
Short, good. What about x?
Long.
So x is the long side. If you're going to go from short to long, what do we do?
By square root of 3.
By square root of 3. So multiply times the square root of 3. So what's your answer?
12 square root of 3.
12 square root of 3. Should be getting easier. Questions? No? No questions? Okay. So let's move on to the last ones. 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. When I gave you the notes for the 45, 45, 90, I told you that it comes from a square, right? That's a square, and I know it's a square because all the sides are going to be the same. So I'm going to be using the rules for the 45, 45, 90. They're telling me I know that these two sides are going to be the same. So if this side is 9, the top one should be 9 because they're always the same. And then to go from a leg to find the hypotenuse, you multiply times the square root of 2. So what should x be?
9 square root of 2.
9 square root of 2. Okay, now the same rules for the next one, number 9, because it's 45, 45, 90. But now they're giving you the hypotenuse. So to go from hypotenuse to a leg, good. We divide by the square root of 2.
17.
So they're both the same square root, so they cancel. So my answer is 17 because they cancel. These two are the same. So x should be 17. Yes? No questions? We have 2 more to go. So for number 10, what type of triangle is this? Okay, isosceles, and it's a 45, 45, 90. So it's telling me to find the perimeter. So you're going to box that in, and then that means just add every single side. Perimeter is just add every side. So we know that the two sides that are touching the 90-degree angle on a 45, 45 are going to be the same. So if this side is 3, the other side has to be 3. To find hypotenuse, we multiply times the square root of 2. So that should be 3 square root of 2. And then to find the perimeter, remember that means add everything. So on your calculator, you're going to put 3 plus 3 plus 3 square root of 2 gives you what? That should be a decimal. So just put it all in the calculator. It's what now? 10.24. Questions on this one?
Is that times or plus 3?
Plus. It's plus plus. We're adding everything. Number 11. For number 11, they want to know the height of the street lights. They're giving you the angle. So the first thing we do is we circle the angle and we label what they're giving you. So they're giving you H. What should that one be? Opposite? So that's going to be opposite. What about the 30? Adjacent. So what are you going to use to solve it? Okay, good. So I'm going to put tangent 70 degrees because they're giving you the degree, so we're going to use it. What should go on top? X, good. What about on the bottom? 30. So if the X is on top, that means we're going to multiply. So on your calculator, go ahead and put 30, tangent of 70, and then enter. What do you guys get? 82 point what? 42? Okay. And that's going to be it.
That's it?
That's it for this one.
Oh, there's more?
Mm-mm.